Okay, so yeah, welcome to the next grammar class is an important topic of asking questions. So not something we've seen yet, but something I want to go over because there are different types of questions, basically. So yeah, asking questions. First things first, if you want the answer, ask a smart question. So a lot of life is basically if you don't ask, you don't get. It's kind of a saying. If you don't ask, you don't get. Um, if you want something in life, you've just got to ask for it. It's that easy. Um, if you don't ask for it, you're definitely not going to get it. So if you ask for it, the percentage increase of you receiving whatever is obviously 100% more than if you don't ask. So a little bit of philosophy there. If you want the answer, if you want to know something, you can ask a smart question. You've got to ask a good question, a smart question. Okay. Sometimes you don't need to ask the question, to be honest. Like, I've had experiences in my life where I've had the question in my mind. There was a group conversation going around. I had a question. I kind of, my ego was like, oh, I really wanted to kind of call out my question because I thought my question was really important. But I decided to refrain and just to listen. And as this person was speaking, I let them continue speaking without interruption. And eventually, as I was listening to them, I actually got my answer. So being patient sometimes is enough to get your answer that you're looking for. You don't always have to rush in and ask a question. Sometimes it's good enough to listen and not interrupt. That being said, if you do want something in your life, you are going to have to ask for it. And the better kind of question you can ask, the more probable, more likely that you will get what you want. So, I'm going to show you some ways to ask questions. But before we do that, I want to show you one of my favorite poems by Rudyard Kipling, who was born in 1865 in India and he died in 1936 in London. And he was a British poet. And yeah, his little poem here was, I have six honest serving men. They taught me all I knew. Their names were what, where, how, where, when, and who. So yeah, of six honest serving men. So these six men are actually questions, basically question words, because these things such as one, where, how, where, when, and who. How many do you count? Six. What do? They taught Rudyard everything he knew. So basically, and there is a spelling mistake here. That should be that kind of their names. Whoops. Um, their names were what, where, how, where, when, and who. And just in this short poem, he's very much explaining the philosophy of asking a smart question, which is asking an open question using a question word. Much more efficient to ask an open question instead of a closed question. So, for example, if I ask you, is your name Ben? You're going to tell me yes, it is, or no, it isn't. And then I'm going to have to guess again and say, well, is your name Peter? And you're going to tell me yes or no. Or, okay, and I'm going to have to keep going until I eventually get your name, which is going to be next to impossible. Are you British? No. Are you French? No. How many? You're going to have to go through 174 countries to get your nationality. So, a much smarter way is to say, well, what's your name? Or where are you from? Or what's your nationality? Because in those cases, you're going to get the answer much more directly. Yeah, because you're leaving it open. You're leaving it open to the other person to respond and give you the information that you're looking for. So yeah, Rudyard Kipling there, with a nice little poem, a British poet, there explaining how using the right words can get you what you want. In this case, knowledge.
Learning English superiorly. We're gonna learn English quick.